can't just, sit around. You can't just feel sorry for yourself. You got to go in attack mode, and it's time to be great and rise above it. And I knew that for a fact. So I said, I requested a room change to see that field. And every day I woke up, the little energy I had at 5 a.m. was when we began practice. I would wake up, look out on that field, watch the whole practice I don't even know how I was able to do that. I mean, I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping. I lost a lot of weight, went down to like 105, 110 pounds.
It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Chris Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
Welcome to Health in the Real World podcast. We're here today with Marcus Rios. Hey, Marcus, how's it going? It's been a while.
I'm doing good. Yep. I think it's been since February or March since we last checked in. But other than that, I'm doing real good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. It was right before COVID and all that started, right? And we were working out together for a little bit, getting you stretched out and flexible for your upcoming season. And then the whole world just stopped. But I see you on Instagram and you're still working out and you're still getting ready. And that's what it's all about, right? Preparation.
Exactly. Yeah. So, ever since that happened, especially me going into my fourth year this year playing in the CFL, my CFL season, got canceled. So that opened me up, ended up becoming a free agent, ended up gaining NFL interest. So, I've just been training since then up to now. But just like you said, I've just been hitting training hard, really branding my business, brand, social media, taking that next step because I was never into social media. So I think, one things I learned from this COVID situation happening, not only was I, able to work on my off the field skills, my on the field skills, but my off the field skills as well, such as my social media, branding, networking, business. I actually had time to actually, work full time on my business now. So, everything's been going really good.
That's great. And for those of you watching who don't know who Marcus is, you played 2 years for Denver, right? And then Denver Broncos. And I still remember the game we went to when you were playing the 49ers and, right up the road. So we got to see you in action. That was awesome. And then last season you were in Canada. What team were you on again?
I was on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Yep.
And you guys won it all, right?
Yep, won the championship. So it was really great experience, especially me being my first year. I think it was about my team went on like a 50+ year drought of winning a championship. So,
that's got to feel good right there. Yeah.
Take credit for that.
I've seen you play and you were the fastest guy on the field, even in the NFL. And I'm like, you definitely have talent, but the way that I tell people, you're like the biggest guy I've seen in person. And you're probably about my height. You're about 6'1", 6 feet, 6'1".
Yeah.
But then with the shoulders and everything, and then you look on the field though, it's crazy how big those guys are because you're like the smallest guy on the field.
That's football for you.
That's football, right? You're up against all the 6'8" guys. But we have a lot of cool stuff to talk about, not only your football. I also wanted to get into your story of what happened to you when you were in college.
Yeah.
That's huge because I think that's something that most people are not going to be at the high level of athletics that you are.
Yeah.
But they can really learn something from your story. So can we go there first? Can we talk about that? Because I think
to all the viewers out there, bear with me. This is a long story, but it's an amazing story as well. So I'm gonna get right into it. So coming out of high school, I was a top recruit, 4-star ranking. I was ranked top 20 in the nation at my cornerback position. So everything was going well. At the end of my high school, I had over 30+ full ride scholarship offer to D1 programs. Graduated early, decided to enroll and commit to UCLA, which was great. Freshman year, I came right in early, spring ball, impressed the coaches. Ended up, playing as a true freshman. Ended up being second string behind a 4-year starter. So that was a real big accomplishment for me as well. I was actually 17 at the time. So I'm 17, competing with, 19, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, and, you know, just coming in playing as a true freshman, that was a big accomplishment for me as well. So, you know, my freshman year, it was all going according to plan. And towards the end of my freshman year, that's when that's when things started happening. So, initially, you know, I started getting headaches. I started, you know, having low appetite. I started, you know, this having trouble sleeping and eating. So I'm thinking it's just, you know, this regular sickness like flu or something, or just regular migraines, this and that. So then I also had trouble breathing a lot. So then went to the hospital, checked in. They actually said I actually got diagnosed with a sinus infection. So they said they gave me antibiotics. They said, okay, it's cool. You'll get better, this and that. Now, probably about going into the off season is probably about 5-6 months later. I've probably been back and forth between the hospitals maybe 3 or 4 times. Within that time span, they had diagnosed me with more sinus infections. So the main, you know, situation was that, you know, I'm just a kid who gets a lot of sinus infections, or that's what they thought. So, and you know, these infections were bad. I couldn't breathe, which was hard for me to practice. Wasn't sleeping well, couldn't eat. And so I actually ended up between the end of my freshman year into the off season, I believe I had a lot of surgeries, at least 3 or 4 surgeries. And these are just reoccurring surgeries of them just, you know, initially that's what they thought it was. This,
And it was like surgeries like up in the sinus, or
yep,
what were they doing?
surgeries and then my sinus infection.
Yeah.
So what they would do is put me to sleep, go up in there, cut up everything, this and that. So it was like each surgery took about 2 weeks recovery time.
Mm-hmm,
But,
mm-hmm.
you know, like I said, I didn't let any of that stop me. And you know, I'm a hard worker. So after each surgery, I would get back on the field, join my team, continue my workouts, and you know, that's it. And then you know, long story short, that just kept, you know, continuing like that off and on, just inconsistent with my, you know, sinus and stuff like that. So that's what the main idea of what was wrong with me. That's what everyone thought it was. Until one day, to fast forward a little bit, starting my sophomore year, till one day I'm sitting in class, and all of a sudden my eyesight just gone. And at this point, I know I had at least for sure already 4 surgeries. So, you know, it was just a big issue of like, you know, okay, he had the surgery, he's better, and then weeks later, boom, I'm sick again. Like I can't eat, I can't sleep or nothing. It's like literally I'm a walking zombie. And still at this point, throughout all those surgeries, this and that, with no sleep for months, literally months, still going to practice, still handling school, had over 4 or 5 classes, still handling all that. So, you know, you know, through the grace of God, I was still able to handle that. But when I knew something was really wrong was I'm in class one day, and then boom, all of a sudden my eyesight goes blank. Like, you know, I'm sitting in class, you know, I'm talking with my friends, it's blank. And so I'm like, I'm worried at this point. So then I go to the medical offices in the football facility, and then you know, they take me to the hospital. They already have my doctor on speed dial already, given my certain situation. And the hospital is actually on campus, which was a good thing. So ended up going to the hospital. My doctor knew something was wrong right away, especially once the eyesight goes. You know, that's a really big red flag. And then yeah, so go to the hospital. I had to do emergency surgery then and there. So at this point, I'm around 5 surgeries. Yeah, I'm around 5 surgeries. And yeah, next thing I remember, I don't even really remember, I was in so much pain. And you know, due to not sleeping and eating, it was kind of like it was a dream, but it wasn't. And then I ended up waking up and seeing my parents. So I'm like, hold on, like what are my parents doing here? Like they're all the way in Sacramento. So I don't know how they got here, but yeah, ended up being serious. They had to do emergency surgery to try to get as much of sinus stuff out. Now, it turns out that surgery really didn't do anything, because the initial diagnosis is that they were trying to figure out what was wrong with me. So initially they thought I had cancer. That's what initially they thought. So then they started gearing up for that. They're feeding me all types of different meds because they're just trying to take precautions on what they think is wrong with me. Turns out I got, you know, doctors flew in from all over, had to get some type of special MRI done. on me, and that's finally they figured out what it was, and it turned out being an invasive fungal infection in the base of my brain in the left orbit of my eye, and that explains why the eyesight was going down and the base of my brain as well. So it was literally a life-threatening, invasive fungal infection that was literally eating away my health, my brain, my eyes away. So I was faced with a lot of challenges. I was faced with a lot of questions. This is a pretty rare case. Well, actually, really rare case. Around 12 people in the world had it. 8 of them died from it. And the really interesting and weird thing about this was like of the people who had it mostly had low immune systems. So cancer patients, people who had, I believe, HIV or some stuff like that. So, for me, a young, healthy kid, football player, always active
right.
for years straight since I was born, like to get this random infection, it was puzzling. And, like I said, 8 of them got it and died. 4 of them got it, got healthy again and died later. So everyone's trying to figure out, all right, what are we going to do with this kid? At this point, I'm not responding to any type of medicines. I was getting IV fluids. I was taking pills orally, just doing all that stuff. At this point, I'm not responding to anything well. So then the doctors come in, they're telling me, okay, we're faced with some decisions. We got to get to that infection behind your left orbit of your eye and the brain. So the only way we may have to do it is we may have to go in, cut out your left eye, and also do the brain surgery as well. So then and this is where the story gets funny, but it's like I need to be realistic. So me, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh no, that can't happen, because
Right.
if that happens, my football career is over.
Right.
I'm like, I've been working since 5 years old for this opportunity. I'm 2 years away from going to the NFL. Like, nothing's stopping me. Like, I'm not letting this happen. So, but at this point, no other options were available. So, we're sitting thinking about it, this and that, and I'm like, nah, like we can't. I was like, I can't do that. And my parents are like, no, you're doing whatever they say, this and that, this and that. All my brothers and sisters and family telling me I'm crazy, this and that, this and that. I always knew I had a purpose, you know what I mean? And one thing that, I'm thankful for how my parents raised me was I live fearless. And, I'm a God-fearing man, and I was raised not to listen to anyone or depend on anyone. That I know, God has a final say so, and whatever's in my heart, that's, through the grace of God, that's what I'm gonna go with. So, I was positive. And they said, okay, well, let's try some few medications and we'll see what happened. But I knew what was gonna happen. Like, I'm not getting the surgery. So then, they give me some type of medication called aspofungin, I believe, and I started responding well to it. Ended up responding well to it, and eventually signs started clearing up that okay, he doesn't need that surgery anymore and stuff like that. And one thing that aside from that, one thing that kept me going was, I believe, I know for a fact, was my faith and my work ethic, and this love for the game of football. When I was in the hospital, they had me on the east side of the wing, where you couldn't really have a view, but on the west side of the wing was actually a view of the football field. So I knew, okay, like it's a time of adversity. And you learn this from playing football or sports or anything in life, like when adversity hits, you got to be prepared for it. You can't just, sit around. You can't just feel sorry for yourself. You got to go in attack mode, and it's time to be great and rise above it. And I knew that for a fact. So I said, I requested a room change to see that field. And every day I woke up, the little energy I had at 5 a.m. was when we began practice. I would wake up, look out on that field, watch the whole practice I don't even know how I was able to do that. I mean, I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping. I lost a lot of weight, went down to like 105, 110 pounds from being 180, 195. So it's like, it was terrible, but I found enough strength to do that. And I kept doing that every single day. And eventually, I started, like I said, the medication I started responding well to it. And it was amazing. Next thing you know, I'm moving around again, walking again, slowly. And so then, me having that mindset is what allowed me to overcome that situation. It was a lot of doubt. I felt doubt from the doctors when they were speaking. I felt doubt nurses walking in see me there. But one thing I never allowed is for me to doubt myself. And one thing I'm thankful that my parents were there. They never allowed me to doubt myself either. Because I'm not gonna lie, it was a tough time. I'm a tough kid. I'm a very hard worker. But there was days in there where, I'm not necessarily saying I wanted to give up, but I kind of just whatever happens, happens. But my dad was in there to push me, like, look, son, like, you say you want to get back on that field, you have what it takes. We got to go. So my dad's pushing me. We're walking laps every day, building our strength, this and that. And he's pushing me. We're getting into fights and stuff. But that's what I always said. Like, that's what I always thank my parents for, is that constructive criticism, that tough love that, like, no matter what you go through, we got your back, but we got to attack things full speed. Like, you want to play on that field, we got to do what we got to do to get back on that field. So it was just a amazing story. But like I said, like, a lot of people say, do you wish that wouldn't have happened? Because that took a toll on my draft stock. It took a toll. And even when I got to the pro day, a lot of teams didn't want to take chances on me because of that health problem. So a lot of people say, like, and of course the misdiagnosis and the career and how they could have got to it sooner if certain steps would have been taken. But at this point, I'm like, look, no one's to blame. You know what I mean? Like, I know, God's in charge of my life, and he's going to, no one's going to stop those plans. The doors that God's going to open and close, that's on him. No man, no person, is going to get in the way of that. So people ask me, do you wish that wouldn't have happened? Like, what if this and that? And I always cut them short. And I say, you know what, it was probably the biggest, best thing that had ever happened to me. Not only did my family get closer, but that was the one time where I know for sure where I was at my lowest and my faith was really tested. And I had to, it was either, sink or swim, and I had to, keep going. And that's what I preach to everyone else, including my, my peers and the kids I coach on my online training program. Like, look, like, life is a journey. Good things are going to happen, bad things are going to happen. But as long as you stay controlled, as long as you do what you got to do, keep your faith, keep working hard, eventually you will get to where you want to be. So, I ended up getting healthy, got back on the field. I think it was my first game back, got thrown in that cow, got the game winning interception. So it was just like
that one was your first game back?
Yeah, that was my first full game.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I remember that interception. That was that was awesome. You saved the touchdown right there.
Yep. It was like a couple seconds left. So it was just like, wow, like I was amazed at, not only what my family could do, but what I could do. And I knew from that point on, like, all right, Marcus, you snitched on yourself. You can't cry about nothing else. Like, you went through possibly the hardest thing you ever could have been through. So you overcome it. So now, I even hold myself accountable. Like, I can't complain about anything no more.
Well, I think it's such a powerful story. And I think it's just a testament to where you are. And I love how you bring that up about, people asking you if you wish it never would have happened. And I agree with you 100%. It's when we hit that bottom, the rock bottom moment, right? It's like, God is with you, your own spirit, your parents, and you knew, you had that inner faith, that knowing, and you took yourself again, like 105 pounds to 180, 185, got back onto UCLA. I mean, just so many great threads of personal growth and how mindset really controls everything. And you could have very, very easily just given up.
Yep. And that's what I tell kids all the time. Like, it's easy to give up. That's the most easiest thing to do, Oh, something happened to me. Okay, now I could fall into the trap and feel sorry for myself. People will feel sorry for me. But, that's not how I was raised. And most importantly, that's not what God wants us to do. Things happen for a reason, and we got to just keep attacking. Even though I lost probably, really only played one full season at UCLA, I was still able to make it to the NFL, play for 2 years there. Ended up going to the CFL, going on to year 4 as being a pro. So like, that's amazing itself. So that, like I said, like I snitched on myself. I can't complain about nothing. I gotta, keep working hard. I gotta keep pushing myself because I, went through it all, man.
Yeah. That's great. So what do you tell the what do you tell the people out there who are listening to your story, and they most likely are not going to hit some, rock bottom like you did? I mean, you almost died. Um, and you pulled yourself out, just, positivity and everything. What would you tell those people who are going through something that seems insurmountable, or it seems like there's just no way through it and they don't know what to do? What do you tell those people?
I would tell them to never give up, and you just got to keep going, keep fighting, and don't worry about who you're fighting for. You got to fight for yourself, because I had to dig deep within myself. This is the thing I was able to overcome. Nobody else could have done that for me. And that's what I preach to kids all the time. It starts with you. Now, after you do what you got to do, then you can start working, pleasing others, making others happy. But it all starts with you. You got to make yourself happy. You got to have goals. You got to wake up inspired. You got to be, you got to be thankful. I admit I was always thankful for everything like that. But when that happened, when I knew life could be over like that, I stopped being, lazy sometimes. I start waking up, having a purpose. What am I going to do today? This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it by then. Okay, I got to be successful. Let's go. So I would say just keep fighting and always believe in yourself. Because trust me, things, you got to, always say, be positive, but let's admit, bad things are going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. But when it happens, when adversity hits, you got to be ready to overcome that and attack it. And because if you aren't ready, it's over. It's over. So you just got to have your mindset ready to do that. And as long as you do that, man, you'll get to where you want to be no matter what happens. It may take months, it may take years, but you just got to keep going, because it took me 2 years to get back onto playing professional football after I got released from Denver. But I didn't quit. I kept going, ended up winning the CFL championship. So that just goes to show, like, there's no timetable on success, but as long as you keep going, man, you'll get to where you want to be.
And that springboarded you to your own business, and your football career is not over. And just things keep going up. So that's great. And a couple months ago, or I guess a year ago now, when you and I were working together, and I was training you 5 days a week, and it was just great to see your work ethic. You would show up an hour early. I'd train you for an hour, and then you would do another hour after, and you're rolling your muscles and doing that muscle gun thing that relaxes everything. I mean, it was very obvious to me and to everybody else in the gym how you got to where you were, because your work ethic is just on point. So I want to encourage anybody out there who, either specifically if you're a football player and you want to go to the next level, but even if you're not, Marcus, tell people how to get in touch with you, how to find your program, and what you're all about with that.
So my program is called Undefeated Sports Training right now. So right now it's all about football, but within the next month, I'll be doing online personal training as well. If you want to find out more about me, type in Marcus Rios on Google. You'll find out info about my story. Also, from my social media pages, you can find me on Instagram at Marcus Rios Official, and you'll see all the hard work that I put in. But at the end of the day, just like what you were saying, like, it had a lot to do with surrounding yourself with successful people and people who are going to push you. That's why during all season, I knew I had to come with you. You're going to hold me accountable. You're a very organized person. You definitely know what you're doing when it comes to training. And I know, you're going to help me in my life. So, final message, surround yourself with good people who's going to help you in all obstacles of life, whether it's your personal life, fitness life, mental life, whatever it is. Just make sure they can, push you at all levels, and you'll be fine, because you are who you hang around with and who you invest your time with. So make sure you're investing in things that are people that are going to be good for you and help you out and this and that.
That's great. And I had this sense that when you were working out with me, that we were really creating this win-win situation. That, again, I saw your work ethic, and it really inspired me to even up my game a little bit. And you're a super fit guy, so there weren't many things that I needed to mess with, but shoulder mobility, right? There was some hip stuff, but because of your work ethic, you pretty much mastered that real quickly. So I think that was a real good again, win-win situation. So, and I hope today's podcast episode is one of those. You and I are both getting out there and getting more exposure, and then also hopefully the viewers. Well, I know the viewers will get a lot out of your story. So I really appreciate you coming on Health in the Real World podcast. I want to remind everybody out there, let's be fit, let's be healthy, let's be happy. Marcus Rios joining us today. Thanks, Marcus.
Yep, no problem, Chris.
Thanks for listening to the Health in the Real World show. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Visit mycorebalance.com to learn more.